my day, man. When I hear one soul has returned to the Father, it's like 1,000. It's better than silver and gold. So God bless you, man. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingaman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby. This is my show. Thanks for tuning in, folks, on this fine Thursday. What a fine Thursday it is to be back with you today. We got a bit of a show for you. A couple of things to get into. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Going to be nice and easy peasy today. And some news. You know. There is something interesting about this phrase, a majority-minority state. You ever hear that? Texas is a majority-minority state. We'll get to the news and all that. We're going to be taking it easy at the beginning. It's just some kind of fun stuff. Because I just want to talk about what I want to talk about, okay? But it's a pleasure to have you here, everybody, on this fine Thursday. Let me just tell you right now, I most likely won't be live tomorrow. No American Anchor Baby tomorrow. We're working on some content, and so the Anchor Baby is needed. So make sure you're just following the channel and all that, because you want to know when we go live if I end up doing something different at a different time. But tomorrow won't be the regular American Anchor Baby. But welcome today on this fine White History Month Thursday, July 17th. Pleasure to have you all here. You could call the Anchor Baby, 888-775-3773. You got something on your mind, something you want to talk about. Other than that, I mean, let's just welcome our viewers on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. And, of course, my viewers here on YouTube. How you doing, everybody? Happy Thursday. couple things to get into, but where was I here? Happy White History Month. Of course, a happy White History Month. We're rocking the colors. And all of you don't always want to rock the White History Month the way I do. I understand. You don't all want to do that. I guess I can understand that. I guess. But you know what? No, we want our people to be safe. We definitely want our people to be safe. And that's why you could just get yourself a little mug, okay? You can just get a little mug action. White History Month. July just feels white. Okay, there's other ways to celebrate in your heart. Okay, I like mentioning it. Personally, I have some fun mentioning it. We've been doing this a few years, so the gas station Mexicans know that it's White History Month. So they show me. I come in, they see it. They know. They laugh it up, and they say, Happy White History Month. At least one of them. And that's funny, and that's cool. So shout out to you. Appreciate it. Happy White History Month. Back to the Shell gas station Mexicans. Make sure you say Happy White History Month. So, where was I here? 888-775-3773. Something on your mind? Did I tell you? Oh, yeah, tomorrow, like I said, might not be live here. But for now, click the like button. Don't be rude. You're here. You're in the chat. Say hello. Come on, jump on in. You're sitting here. We see you. Don't be rude. Just say hi. Leave a little comment. It helps the channel. Leave a like. It all helps. And tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. We'll get into some of the news and all that. You know what I have on my mind right now? Because, look, you can call in. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. We could talk about Epstein. We could talk about it all. It's just I don't care about the news right now. There's some news maybe later, but I got peptides on the mind. You familiar with peptides? This is science. This is medical science. We're talking about biohacking. Where are the biohackers at? Do we have any biohackers in the chat? Are you trying to live forever? How you doing, Troy? Happy White History Month. We talk about it all. Like I said, we've been doing it all week. Can we talk about peptides a little bit? Look, are you familiar with Ozempic? Let's do a little science stuff. Let's just kind of switch it up. Because they be biohacking, okay? You're familiar with Ozempic, maybe a little bit. You might be familiar with Ozempic, Wegovy. What do they call that stuff? You inject it. You got this stuff. You inject it subcutaneously, I believe. Or is it intramuscularly? It depends. The point is you get it in there. But you can't be eating this stuff. Now, is there an Ozempic pill? Is there an Ozempic pill? Or is it all injectables? Or whatever. Because if you're familiar with the wonder drug of the century, that will stop you from being fat. You can now there's a drug. And there is, in fact, a pill, an Ozempic pill. And they have this active ingredient, semaglutide. The wonder drug of the century, of the new age. You could look slim. You could eat your goodies, but look slim. In fact, you won't even want to eat your goodies. That's because this stuff, how it affects you, it stops your appetite and a number of things. You see, your body's full of these little receptors, okay? They're all over. This particular one is GLP-1. And if you just take a look, them receptors, they're in the brain, they're in the gut, they're kind of all over. You start affecting the body in a certain way, okay? And they got this. Through testing and chemistry and all that, they have come up with this chain of amino acids. The wonders of science, I guess. A chain of amino acids. What the heck is an amino acid? I mean, it's this building block of proteins. It's this building block of a lot of things. Of sometimes hormones, not all hormones. It's a molecule, okay? And you add them together in a chain, and if you get different chains send different messages, okay? And if the chain is long enough, it folds up and it becomes a protein. And proteins have their own purposes too, okay? It's all biology stuff, okay? It's pretty fascinating in some respects because what's happening in this peptide world is essentially, what's it called? Is it fair to say a renaissance of biohacking? They say that Ozempic is just the beginning. You know, this chain of amino acids. This chain is called a peptide. This peptide hooks up to some of these receptors all over the body. Once it does that, it suppresses appetite and does a number of things. Now, your body creates this stuff naturally, but imagine if you could synthetically create it and tickle those receptors whenever you want. You could feasibly take a pill or an injection that could suppress your appetite. It has happened. They have synthesized that hormone, GLP-1, and they've made it into a FDA-approved drug and all that. You understand? It's pretty fascinating stuff, but that's just the beginning. They say that, well, besides what's coming, there's all sorts of stuff. Melanotin, its function, deep tanning, appetite suppression, increased libido. So imagine imagine a different peptide you inject. They can make them pills too, apparently. The difficulty in that is that proteins, when you eat something, your digestive system destroys it essentially, right? It's this chain, it's this specific message, this chain of amino acids, and your body digests it. It breaks it all up. You need that message. You got to keep the message for what you're trying to do with the body, right? So they got melanotin. So you can get tanned without going to any tanning salon or even getting any sun, just kind of the light you're already getting. You could get a tan, get svelte, increase libido, side effects, nausea, weird moles. Hey, whatever, right? They got all sorts of stuff. They got skin regenerators, hair growers, hair growing peptides. They call one BPC 157, body protective compound. It speeds up the healing. It speeds up the healing of muscles, tendons, gut lining, skin. Gives you like a regenerative factor. And there's ones that even increase your metabolism. They make you run. They make your body run hotter and run. You could take enough of this stuff that your internal temperature will rise to where you die. That's how hackable, I guess, the body is in a sense. It's kind of a new world of stuff, and a whole bunch of people on the internet are basically getting their hands on it. This stuff is like more available than ever. It's a golden age of designer weight loss drugs, guys. I think Kevin Howe's saying in the chat. Yeah, we got some that make you black. Side effects: bad credit score, over seasoning food. Yeah, no, I'm not lying. It's a peptide that turns you into a black guy. They got peptides that turn you black, peptides that make you strong, peptides that make your skin tough, that grow your hair. It's possible, folks. It's a whole new world, and I'm going to get to my calls. I do want to get to my calls. Don't go anywhere. 888-775-3773. It's a whole new world. Okay? Side effects, bad credit score, over-seasoning food, ready to black peptides, ready to a particular audio sensitivity to certain words. But what else? What else about this? Sorry, I'm just trying to riff on that. You guys are funny. A peptide that turns you black? Should have thought about that. That's hilarious. But it's basically Bioshock over here. Who knows what's going to happen next? I want to see amazing things. I want to see the peptide Olympics. I want to see a steroid, all of it. I want to see it. I want to make it. Please make it happen. But that's crazy, right? They're out there experimenting on their bodies. I don't think you should go out there and do that, by the way. It's just the time we're living in with the internet and what's available. All these medical procedures, things that you could get if you got the money, I guess. Cheat codes for the body. What will happen down the road? It won't have any terrible effects down the road, right? Inhaling all these gigabytes. Who inhales gigabytes? Who's out there inhaling gigabytes? You know, your little you plug them into the USB-C and then you inhale and it's like vapor, right? You vape in. You're who knows what all those inhaled gigabytes will do? Anyways, they are working on the steroid Olympics, which I'm for, by the way. I heard about that. I forgot. I thought I mentioned that. That's deep. Lights, all the dark side effects. You guys are funny. 888-775-3773. About to get to my calls here. Appreciate all the support, too. I will get to all of you. My buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. Amazing stuff. Look, it's a beautiful White History Month, folks. And a happy White History Month to everybody. Turd Fling Monkey. We'll just call you Yusuf. We'll just call you Yusuf over there on Rumble. Barrett, how you doing? A pleasure. Thank you, buddy. How you doing, Brandon? Crevin. We got some viewers. The viewers increase on Rumble, and I do appreciate it. And my members, amazing stuff. Truly incredible. I took a peptide that made me rip, tan, made me bigger. Side effects include uncontrollable rage, and I can't hear my smoke detector anymore. What would you do to be a champion, to be a legend? Like that. I was thinking about Scotty Scheffler. Now you guys are making me think of Scotty, right? Golfer. JLP played his clip today and yesterday. He was struck by how he described life and the inner life. I mean, he's a guy at the top of his game. Scotty Scheffler, is that how he said? I heard that this is a guy at the absolute top of what he does. And he's like, what is it all for? What's the point? That's basically what I was saying, but in different words, when I was saying that Patrick Mahomes he clearly loves his wife. That's why he didn't win whatever game that was. Right? You can see it all over his eyes. He loves his wife. No, but that may be different than this Scotty guy. Because that guy was saying, what if golf got in the way of my family or my children a little bit, that's the last day I play professional golf. He struck me as a little bit more of a masculine guy maybe than Mahomes, but hey, why is Mahomes catching strays on the anchor baby? What? Let's leave him alone, right? Like, what the? By the way, get your White History Month mugs if you'd like. Isn't that crazy? That even yet we're just trying to be careful, right? But we care about bond. We care about bond. Okay, so like that's why. But isn't that crazy? Even now, even now in Trump's America, Trump's racist America. You want to be careful with payment processors and stuff. Like who runs America, like America's free speech, and who if you're unable to run yourself, right? If you're like this control person, that's how most people are. Then you have a lot of things in the way, in your way, in a sense, in your free speech, right? Payment processors and people. Where was I? Look, we're just rambling now. We got calls I want to get to. I know we got news. We could talk about whatever you want. On this fine Thursday, I'm taking it loosey and goosey today. Since not going to be live tomorrow. Definitely not any regular time. But we got to get out there, okay? A little preview for my viewers. I guess it's not a big deal, but we're trying to get out there. There's some people out there. Look, I won't even say that, but the point is want to ask people about White History Month. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be fantastic? We need to get it out there. But where were we here? Peptides. Look, I want to get to my calls. Let's see here. I got some more fun stuff. And then even some news. But look, we got John out of Kentucky. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Man, what are you talking about?
Peptides, sir.
Man, who cares about peptides when
I
the
do,
Epstein
man.
story is front and center?
We were talking about all... Wait, what'd you say?
Come on. I said, why you want to talk about peptides when the Epstein story is front and center?
Hey, you want to talk about Epstein? Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Talk about Trump covering for Epstein, covering up. He's the head of this cover-up, ain't he?
You said Trump is the head of this Epstein cover-up?
Yes. Yes.
Based cover-up. Amazing cover-up for good and for the country.
Is that what you think, man?
No, I don't really think that because I'm actually not entirely sure of what's going on. Cover-up. I mean, can you explain what you mean? What makes you think that?
Just by listening to Trump, right. Yeah. Just listening to Trump 1 week, he's about the files. Then the second week, they don't exist. Then Obama and Biden created the files, and it's all just a big old hoax and nothing to see. And it's got to be something when, as loyal as Trump's followers are, the majority are super pissed at him right now for like insulting their intelligence about, just saying, don't worry about it, just let it go. So that's a cover up, man, because he would keep his base happy, don't you think?
But he's not about just keeping his base happy, though. I don't know if you know. I gather Trump's not like that. Trump's about he'll do something he thinks is what he needs to do, even if it makes the base not happy. That's kind of what I gather from him.
Like lie to him?
Well, lie to them about what?
The files
What did you say he lied about?
The files existing.
And what did he say about them?
That they don't exist.
He said that they existed? Tell me the lie. Tell me the lie. Tell me the lie.
Okay, the lie is that they don't exist and they exist at the same time. That's the lie.
He may have said that. I don't remember. He may have said that. I'm not saying he didn't.
Let me ask a serious question.
I don't remember because look.
Let me ask a serious question.
Because this got all brought up, right? And I remember trying to go through it, right? Because everybody's saying, Trump lied, right? And I'm like, okay, well, let me find out. Let me remember what he said because I'm not here sitting. I'm not gonna. When someone says that to me, I'm not gonna be like, whoa, come on, what? I'm not gonna just be offended, right? Let me find out, right? So I go and I look and I see this video of him saying of him being asked, oh, will you declassify this or that? JFK, blah blah blah, and Epstein. And he's like, I might.
He said yes.
He's like, I might. Yeah, I might. I'll think about it. And so, on that, call it nitpicky, but on that, can you say, well, where's the lie? I just want to understand your thinking here, right? Because I tried going through that, right? Tell me where was the lie, where was the promise? I just want to understand your thinking here. You might be right.
Don't switch it to promise. Because I see what you're doing, but you see what the lie is. They exist, they don't exist. They exist, they don't exist. They exist, they don't exist. Obama created them, Hillary created them, Biden created them. That's the lie.
Did Trump say they don't exist? I'm not familiar with the further Truth Social posts like that have been. I haven't followed every single Truth Social post. Did he say they don't exist, or did he say Obama created them? Because you can't say both. If you say Obama created them,
that's the lie. That's the lie.
If you say Obama created them, you can't say that they don't exist. What do you mean?
That's the lie, man.
I guess we'll have to check the text ourselves because
you want to know what the lie is.
You're not always the most truthful person. We'll have to check the text ourselves.
Oh my God!
No, but look, about what?
Listen to the next question because
you're not a truthful person.
Listen.
That's just a fact.
You said I'm not a people person?
You're not a truthful person. That's just a fact.
Man, you don't know me personally, man.
I've heard your.
I tell my wife, listen, I cannot lie, man. I cannot lie. I don't know how to.
He may want it to go away a bit. Yeah, I haven't seen the text yet, but he may want it to go away a bit. What were you just saying?
This is my question. why do you feel obligated, or do you feel obligated that you have to protect Trump or like defend him? Why can't you just be like,
no,
well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Really
you could be right.
No, I really don't. And this is like really jarring maybe for people, but this is what a person sounds like when they're just saying what they're thinking, right? Like sometimes you just disagree. Sometimes you disagree. How can there be a person? Wow, you telling me there's a Trump voter that didn't vote? I didn't vote for Trump to release the Epstein files. That's y'all.
No, that's y'all. That's y'all's.
No,
you're right. No,
guy. I've been consistent on this. Even the Hunter Biden stuff, I was like, why are we caring about that? Like, I've been consistent on this. This is me. This is me personally. I'm not a GOP person. I'm not a paid GOP person. I don't have any agenda, so I'm not defending anyone. This is my honest thinking on this. Like, personally, I don't see. Look, I don't believe you either, man. I don't find you honest either, man.
What'd you say? I find you dishonest. I don't believe you either. Like just in general, anything. Like I feel like you cater to Trump and you shield for him.
But that's just you saying that. I could say you hate him, and you just say things to hate him.
I mean, you can say what you want. I can say what I want.
You can say what you want.
I can sit back and observe you, though, Nick. I can see how defensive you guys get when it comes to this.
Well, then why don't you tell me what it is?
James is so tired of talking.
Well, now you want to talk about somebody else. Who's the one who doesn't want to get to the point? Who's the one that doesn't want to get to the point?
Says the one who's talking about
who's the one that wants to talk about everything
amino acids.
Why can't I do that? Who's the guy that wants to talk about everything else? Here you have the floor, sir. Tell me what I'm lying about.
Hey man, you're
see, look at this snake. Tell me what I'm lying about, or I'm hanging up on you.
Snake.
Tell me what I'm lying about, or I'm hanging up on you. Let's talk about it.
You are slippery.
See,
it's so obvious to see.
Calling me slippery instead of talking about it. Let's talk about it, or I'm hanging up on you.
Look.
Ask me a question.
Man, you can do what you want to do, but I mean, you can't pressure me to do it.
The next thing has to be a question, or I'm hanging up on you.
The next thing has to be a question.
All right. You guys could talk to me about Epstein. Let's talk to Troy out of Los Angeles about Epstein. We could talk about Epstein, but you don't have to be a snake about it. What's up, Troy? How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
All is well.
I love that. All is well over here, too. You said something that I thought was interesting, and I know you're telling the truth about this, but I wanted to explore a little bit of it. You said you didn't vote for Trump to release the Epstein files, similar to the laptop thing, right?
I did not vote for Trump to release the Epstein files. That wasn't like a big thing in my mind.
I got that. So can I ask I want to ask two questions on top of that. One, why do you not care if you release the Epstein files? Just in a general sense. I'm not really going to hammer on that, but I want to know.
No, we can get into it specifically or otherwise, but put it like this. We were talking about it with on Punchy yesterday, I think, with Derek and James. And what did I say? I said something like this, like, well, to summarize, I'll get to that later, but to summarize, I trust Trump. That's it, man. I trust Trump. I trust Trump. And then there's all this other talk around it that a lot of people clearly don't know what they're saying. And then there's just this one aspect, which is like, is there a foreign control of our government? And I'm like, cool. I don't want that. But you're asking me, right? Nick, we need you to make a decision on this. And I'm like, I'm ignorant on that. And even that commentary of is something foreign controlling our politicians, any commentary I have on that would be informed out of ignorance. So I'll put it like this. Trump has been an absolute positive. And even now, even with Epstein, I've yet to be, someone can maybe tell me, but like, I've yet to see how, look, put it like this, like, do people, are there some smart people who want something more, maybe like more sovereignty in America and truly more right wing or something beyond Trump? Maybe. Again, that's my ignorance informs that, but I can't come at it. I just can't come at the guy with this like critical, nasty way. It's more like, thank you, sir. Appreciate it for being a legend, waking us up in some ways and setting up what's coming next. I think he's just done an amazing thing, and I think that remains. I think that's
fair.
I'm willing to hear people out on it.
I have a couple follows to it. It's like waking you up. You said waking us up to how things are or something like that. what did Trump wake you? I'm not going to ask you to speak for everyone, but what did Trump wake you up to? Let's say when Trump comes on the scene, original Trump, right? Down the escalator, he's doing his thing. OG Trump, like what did he wake you up to?
Well, at first, evil. You know,
I remember
how people's minds, you know. Say again?
I remember that conversation with you. It might have been one of the first times we talked about him waking you up to good versus evil. But I would just say, from a presidential voter, what did he? You know,
no,
that's more what I'm looking.
No, but that's allow me to elaborate, because that has an enduring thing. Because notice what I woke up to is how evil operates, for example, in people's minds. You know, you have all sorts of people who were saying things simply because they heard someone else say it, simply because they saw it on TV, simply because they felt it, and it had very little to do with what's right, what's true. If you notice, that same spirit endures with people talking about Epstein, this or that, whatever. They'll say all sorts of things that they don't even know what they're talking about, and it's quite evil. That's quite evil. So I mean, I think it does have a place. You know,
no,
I don't think you can remove it. But yeah, what were you going to ask about politically?
I mean, like, okay, as a voter, right? Because we were first talking about, you were like, oh, some people might want more American sovereignty, and you could see that, but you'd be speaking from a place of ignorance.
Right.
When it comes to the political, right? Like I definitely understand everything you just said from a more.
I don't know who it is. All sorts of people got money. Inside, outside, Israel, not Israel, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want it. Fine.
I'm asking you I'm asking you what, from a political voter standpoint, what did he wake you up to? What was the thing that, you know, I mean, I guess I would ask, what do you think Trump's main promise was that we all were activated by?
America first. That he's going to put this country first. That I realize that the country has not been put first for a long time. I realized that I realized how a lot of people in the country thought, and they were quiet. I guess that kind of stuff. And yeah, America first, in a sense.
Yeah, for me, what that kind of touched on when I first remember seeing Trump is, you know, Trump was elected. It feels like a lot of people used to use this kind of verbiage, but Trump was kind of elected as some people would say, like, Trump was elected as kind of a hand grenade, a Molotov cocktail we throw in to disrupt the system that has kind of put America not first. Whatever that might be, foreign influence, whatever, right? But America wasn't first. He said, America doesn't win anymore. We're going to win, right? We're going to get these people who don't care about our country.
Right.
We're going to expose them, and we're going to get rid of them. Would that be a fair thing to say?
I agree, yes.
For me, go ahead.
I mean, you gave it some characterization, this grenade and all that. I think it matters. Because you said it even yourself, whatever that means. Well, that's kind of an operative thing, don't you think, Troy? I mean, whatever that means, it means maybe some different things to people, and maybe some of those people were wrong. But what were you saying?
Well, he also campaigned on draining the swamp, right? That's another version of this, another campaign slogan. Of course, Trump is a master sloganeering. So
totally.
Some of these things, I would say, America first, drain the swamp, we're going to start winning again, these types of things. I think they touch on the same idea, which is that there's a group of people who are in our government with influence, and we need to take back the reins of what it means to, you know, care about America from these people and put America first. I think a lot of people voted for that reason. For me personally, and this is me speaking personally about that. Okay, cool. I think for me, with regards to the Epstein stuff and the list, right? To me, it strikes at all those things we were just talking about. I don't really personally, I think a lot of people since 2015, 2016 have been kind of led into this pen thought-wise of all of the, whatever different, for lack of a better term, conspiracies exist. Oh, they want to do this to us for this reason. You could fill in those blanks however you want. A lot of people look at the Epstein thing I'm seeing from the narratives we see online and surrounding it. They think it's all about exposing these people who did these bad things. But for me, I look at something like the client list and the lack of releasing it as more than anything. The thing I find most appalling about it, what upsets me the most is I don't see how we should I guess, protect the people who are involved, no matter how high up it goes, because I thought the goal of Trump was to remove these people who are compromised at best or, obstinate towards America winning at worst, if that makes sense. Like, shouldn't these people be exposed?
When you put it like that, sure.
Because I don't really think, I really want to know
I think like you, when you put it like that, just putting it simply, just like, should we have our politicians blackmailed? I guess absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But you say, but when I'm talking to people about it, like you, sorry.
Yeah. No, I just am not interested in the gruesome details, but I feel like a lot of people, to your point, and I agree with you on this, I think a lot of people are like, I want to know the horrific things. But see,
let me clear that up, because I even asked James this yesterday. I'm like, well, let's entertain this. I mean, I was asking him on Punchy, like, well, hold on. There's people, there's people who just want to know the details, and it's ego and it's dirty. But, there's some who are saying what you're saying, and I forget what we said there. But look, allow me to respond to some of that. I mean, what were you saying just now?
I was saying I'm not interested in I'm not interested in the kind of gruesome details. You see people coming out saying, oh, the only thing in these files is,
that's right.
fraud or this or that. I'm not interested in that. I want to know the people who are compromised.
Okay, so let me say this, because let's say someone will call me and ask me, well, this is important to me. This is important. And they'll say, like you just said, they got to release this client list. Well, it's like, again, it seems like, put it simply, yeah, bad things shouldn't happen in our government in that way. But then I'm talking to people who are supposed to be knowledgeable, and they're supposed to convince me to care, right? I don't personally care. I trust Trump, and he says, okay, he's going to do it this way, they do it that way. People are calling me, you got to care about this. Why? Because there's a client list. Again, okay, fine. You made me look into it a little bit. I've looked into it a little bit, and I realized, wow, for example, figure one. Everybody's talking about a client list. Tell me, what do you know about this client list? In your mind, when you say client list, what are you saying?
Well, first of all, I have a follow-up question. I'm going to put a pin and don't answer it. But you said you don't care about this, and I know you don't mean like wholesale.
Let me I guess evaluate that. That's a fair question. Let me qualify that. I don't care about it enough to go against Trump on it. I don't care about it enough to yeah.
I guess, and then I'll answer this. If Trump were on the list, and this is just a big what if, we don't have to do what ifs. You can.
This is a great question. I've answered this a few times, but ask it.
If Trump were on the list, and I don't know if he is or isn't, but if he was, would you want to know personally?
This is, and I will answer your question directly, but you'll understand why it's difficult to answer once you actually know some of the facts, which it sounds like you don't. When you say if Trump is on the client list, what would that mean to you? What does that mean? What list? What is it in your mind when you say client list? What list is he on? What are you talking about?
Based on the facts that we have right now only, and no other details, let's say they just released a list of names, because we have some forms of lists, I would think it would only mean so much. It wouldn't be definitive, right? But it would mean similar things that it meant to me when I found out that Clinton flew on the plane like 25 times or something. It would it would only raise more questions. It wouldn't give me answers necessarily. I would want the full disclosure. Does that make sense?
No. I mean, sort of. If you were like this, I guess, maybe like a cop or investigator, maybe. But you as a voter, I mean, why do you tell me again why you need to know?
See, here's the thing. I'm not so concerned with like the sexual crime element of the Epstein list. For me, right, the reason that all of this recent situation with Trump and the Epstein list and him kind of constantly running out into this minefield when they're asking questions at press briefings and stuff, it doesn't make sense to me. It seems odd to me as a person who's followed Trump all these years. This is why it matters to me. I only want the list not to expose people for some crazy sex crime. I want the list to understand who these compromised people could be, who they're compromised by, and that in itself has to do with putting America first, draining the swamp, these things that Trump ran on initially, the things that made Trump popular initially, right? That made him unique initially.
But you don't think he maintains that?
Here's the thing. I want the list because I want that form of Trump to be what's out in front still. I feel like whatever's going on now, I didn't vote for Trump to be a pragmatic leader who like put regular sugar in the Coke. I don't really care about that. And I don't think that's what Trump was elected for.
But you think that's all he's doing?
Well, no.
That's just a very cute way of summarizing what he's doing, though. That's kind of a very cute way of summarizing what he's doing.
Well, yeah, and we're speaking kind of in general terms. I'm obviously, if you ask me to list all the things that I think Trump is doing, I could get more expressive than that. But I want Trump. Trump wasn't elected to make minor changes. He was elected to put America first and, quote, make us win again, right? And I just don't know if he's achieved that over his 2 terms or over really the last decade.
What else are you unhappy about?
Well, I don't really know if, like, me listing the things I'm unhappy about, I could do it if that's how you want to spend the time. I don't think that we're getting the mass deportations we were promised, personally. I think we've gotten a good chilling effect with the ICE raid. But if you really dig into the numbers, we're not getting, like, quote, mass deportations.
What about the border being secure? What about the border being secure?
Well, you asked me what I didn't like. If you want to ask me things that I could give him as a win,
well, I can ask you what you. Well, I can ask you what you don't like, and then when you're in the middle of you telling me something, I can also ask you if a different question, right?
I could definitely give Trump some wins. I mean, look, me saying that.
No, but I can ask you that, right? I'm allowed to do that. I can ask you something you don't like, then in the middle, ask you something what you do like, right?
I don't think you're out of bounds at all. I could shift and say, yeah, there are tons of things that I could say that Trump did.
So the border, the border where we were, and the border being secure.
Current administration, I think the border is pretty well locked down. I think he's done a good job. I don't think he did a good job in the first term, but I think in this term, he's doing the border being pretty locked down is a solid win. But I wasn't promised in 2024. We weren't promised.
That's what I voted for. This is what I'm getting at, Troy.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go quick. In 2024, at all the rallies, every time he did a speech, his campaign promise was not, we're going to shut down the border. His campaign promise was mass deportations now. You and I agree that Biden let in, 8 to 10 million illegals?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that statement?
I do.
Okay. Do you think that we've even deported, do you know even the general numbers of our mass deportations that we were promised now?
I heard it's not very good, or in the sense of if you add it up, it wouldn't get rid of for example, what Biden brought in. Yeah, I'd like to see those go up.
We're hit 800,000 by the end of the term.
Yeah, I'd like to see those go up. Are you familiar with the bill that passed? They're trying to put money towards it and all that.
It's a big, beautiful bill. Promises us $1 million per year, which, look, I want more than that, but I would be satisfied with $1 million per year, but we're not on track for that.
Well, they're increasing though, so it's not fair to say.
Well, look, increasing is not mass deportations now.
Fair.
We could deport a lot more people.
And you're allowed to say that, but here's what I'm getting at. What tells me the people getting all acting like this about it tells me something about them. It tells me that they're kind of unstable, kind of quick to switch. They don't really have the ability to wait and see. That's what it tells me about it, for real. Now, is that me saying you're not allowed to question it because Trump is God and it's no.
I don't think that's what you're saying.
Is that me saying, oh, I want our politicians blackmailed? Look, I'm just saying that there's multiple things going on, and it tells me when someone is like, I'm gonna just flush it all because I believe in my belief this is what's happening with Epstein, and I'm not getting what I wanted, and it tells me a lot about them that they're a impulsive person,
I think that's totally fair. When I'm looking at the situation just from my perspective as an American and as a voter and someone who supported Trump, right? I'm asking myself 2 questions. Is it possible that Trump overpromised and hasn't delivered on those promises? And is it reasonable for me as a voter to say, look, man, you said you were going to expose these people. You said you were going to do mass deportations.
He didn't say he was going to expose anybody.
He said he was going to drain the swamp. We went over this at the beginning.
Wait, who did he say he was going to expose?
Hold on. If the people on the Epstein client list aren't major fund managers, billionaires, and politicians of America and foreign governments...
No, but let's just be clear on things. Who did he say he was going to expose?
Did he not say he was going to drain the swamp?
Did he say he was? You said and expose. He promised to expose people. Let me just ask.
I'm asking you a quick question.
Let's clear it up, Troy. Were you? No, you're absolutely right. Let's clear it up. Were you implying with that comment by saying that he was going to expose? were you implying that he promised to expose Epstein people and that kind of stuff?
I'm saying that from day one.
No, okay.
This is my thesis. I'm saying that from day one of Trump, down the escalator, he came out and said there are people that aren't putting America first. There are people in our government who don't care about our government. They care about enriching themselves. They care about whatever, enriching their friends. There's a lot of different, reasons people would go against their oath of office, let's say. And Trump ran on, we are going to get rid of these people, and we're going to put in my people and our people who want to put America first so we can win again. That was his general idea. Drain the swamp, all these things, right? Make America great again. These are all generally the same idea that Trump ran on. And I'm saying the Epstein client list, it speaks directly to doing those things. And now he's saying, if you want that list, you're not a supporter of mine. And for me, it kind of seems like, a pretty big, I don't like to use the word betrayal, but it just seems like a bold thing to say. I leave it at that. I don't overreact. I know Trump is only a man. You know what I mean? The next thing will be bigger than Trump, hopefully. But it is a weird thing to say. If you want the client list, you're no longer my supporter. I don't want your support. That's strange to me. These people rock with Trump through everything.
He says, I think I saw something like that. Past supporter. I've yet to read that one yet myself. But
yeah, it's just two social one from last night. It's pretty new, but it's pretty.
I just still stand by that. I think it's a deeper overreaction to all these other people. Some of what you said may even be true. I may even share some. I'm apprehensive in saying this because I just don't want to say lies. That's the apprehension, and the apprehension is in saying what that I share. Maybe some people in the administration want this to go away for whatever reason, but I just don't share everything else. And you said they voted for him for these reasons. You laid some of them out about the kind of guy he would be, the kind of president he would be, and it's just crazy to you guys. But I am that guy. I'm here sitting saying I am largely happy. I am largely satisfied and happy with many of the things you said. Many of the things you said, even now.
And
now we could discuss it, but don't go telling me, and you're not doing this, but don't go telling me that I'm being dishonest when I say that, because that's what it sounds like. I'm a person that's saying that, and that's what it is.
Totally. I never would. Look, I don't think you're being dishonest, but I know where you're coming from to a certain degree. We've spoken enough times.
I sincerely feel. I'm still happy. I'm still quite happy with all those things. Aren't you? Aren't you still quite happy with all those things?
Well, here's the thing. I am not satisfied with what Trump has done.
You may want more. You may want more, but with the things you mentioned, right? The border being like.
Hold on. No, I'm not. Look, I can
tell
give
me what
Trump
you're unsatisfied with.
I can give Trump his flowers where they're due, because I'm a normal human being.
Well, we don't want the flowers. Just tell me where you're satisfied. Tell me if you're satisfied with the things you mentioned, and if you're not, why not? Because of time.
I will. I will give Trump his due where he's done well, but I'm not satisfied with what Trump's done since he came down the escalator. And I will only say this, and we can put to bed the Epstein thing. I'll answer your question. They did polls recently. Now, polls are limited. They said 3% of people polled said they don't care about the Epstein client list. But I don't think it's unreasonable. And when you read this newest post, you might see what I mean. Mm-hmm. If Trump himself comes out on True Social and says, if you care about the client list, if you voted for me because you wanted me to release the client list, I'm not going to do that. Shut up about it. And if you still want it, you're not my supporter. I don't want your support. It's not unreasonable for everyone who does support Trump and wants the client list to say, fine, I no longer support you, right? Because that's what the man is saying to do.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. Wait, say the number again. What did you say about 3%?
There was a poll they just released. They polled, I can't pull, I have it somewhere saved, but I can't pull it up right now because I'm on my phone with you. But they polled people about the whole Epstein client list thing, Trump voters. Yeah. And I think even non-Trump voters, I think it was like 23% said they were indifferent. 40-some% said they wanted the list. But basically, only 3% of people who responded to the poll said they don't care about the list coming out. They don't need it. They don't want it. It's not. It's a non.
Okay, I'm following. And you're saying that so this vast majority of people, if Trump is telling them, if you care about this list, then you're not. Well, I'd say if they stop supporting Trump because of that, I'd call them quite unreasonable and emotional.
But he's telling them he doesn't want their support. You want the list.
That being said,
That's what he said.
Fair enough. That being said, I would still say those people should they react the way you said, are quite unreasonable and acting quite emotional, in fact.
Do you think Trump's acting emotional? The people saying we want the list? Because it feels like a two-way street.
I'm not sure about that.
Interesting. So they're emotional for going in favor of what the man told them. I mean, they're just doing what they've always done. They're following what Trump says. He says, I don't want your support.
They are because they're far too quick to get rid of what they have. Far too quick. They're just far too quick to, pull this plug, do these things. And that's where I get this assessment from. Just far too quick, way too emotional. And they have no clue where we are and what we have. That's why I would say that.
American voters on his side, and I think personally, he, in the same way you're saying it, I think he's doing the same thing. He's a little too cavalier with him saying, I don't want your support. He had half of the voting public supporting him, and he's saying, over this list, you're not my supporter anymore. I don't want your support.
You might be right.
That's something that I think that's why I think the most current post, and you haven't seen it, to your credit, to be fair to you, you haven't seen it. Maybe when you see it, maybe it'll.
I gather the gist. I still maintain that the vote, if the public should react like that, they would be quite unreasonable. They'd be quite unreasonable.
And you're entitled to it, and I can almost respect people who just. I have a close friend. He stays straight with it. He doesn't try to find.
Because think about it, man. Wouldn't it be quite unreasonable? Should you voted in Trump? You're voted in Trump, right? We are where we are. The Overton windows moved where it is. The border's being dealt with where it is. We want these things and that with the mass deportations, but it is where it is. And you're gonna tell me this over this name that you didn't even care about before 2019. You're going to take this tweet and be like, you know what? You're right, Trump. You're gonna let someone else's words, and it's the president, it's the guy you supported, but it's still another person. You're gonna let the words of another person affect you, right? It's quite unreasonable. I think it still fits all my criteria for being quite unreasonable and quite emotional, actually.
I think that's fair, but I think politics plays on emotion, number one. And number two, what are you supposed to do? I mean, he's not affecting me insofar as anything more than a politician says X, and I respond to it. When Trump came down the escalator and said, we're going to build a big wall and Mexico's going to pay for it, you know how it affected me? I said, I like this guy. I want to vote for him because I want to build a wall. And now he's saying, if you care about the Epstein client list, I don't want your support. So you know what I say? Okay, well, I guess I won't support you then because I do care about it. I do think that
pretty
the people
unreasonable and pretty emotional.
Huh?
Then you're pretty quick to switch up on people and kind of unreasonable.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm emotional or quick on anything because for me, I'm observing the situation of politics. I don't look at Trump as a savior.
But you're saying with the Epstein, so you wouldn't vote for a third Trump term?
Well, look, I wouldn't have voted and didn't vote for a second Trump term because I didn't think he was going to deliver on the promises because of the people around him. And that's just how I view politics. So I mean, I have a few more elections under my belt than maybe you do. That's not saying it's not meant as a slight, but I've been rug pulled by a few politicians.
It's just an attack on credibility, but that's okay.
No, it's not. You are very.
It's
credible,
a fair attack. So you're right. I don't have all the elections under your belt, sir.
You just might lack
you voted a lot. You're right. You're absolutely correct.
I think you're a very credible and very fair person when it comes to these conversations.
Look,
so, no,
I just want to be factual. It was not personal. It was a factual and based, credible attack on my credibility. You're right. You're right. I don't have multiple presidents under my.
But I wouldn't vote for another. Here's the thing: if I saw Trump, if I believed that Trump was serious about governing, and I believed that Trump was surrounded by the right people, I would support the man. I think the only thing that can happen now is Trump has to finish his term, he has to go away, and something has to replace him. And it can't be a J.D. Vance. It can't be anyone from this admin. It can't be a Vivek or a Tucker. Like, we need a true look. The reason I supported Trump is Trump was a true American patriot. That's what he was, and maybe he still is. But it's been 10 years, maybe like 12 years since he really started pushing, and he's just not he's different now than he was. I'm sure his heart is maybe in the right place, but he didn't fulfill the promises he made. There's no wall. We didn't get the border when we needed it. We're not getting mass deportations when we needed them. right? We're just getting like scraps, and maybe that's the political system holding him back. But he ran on, we're going to do all these things. We can just do things, mass deportations now. We're not going to, we're going to end the wars. I haven't seen any of that. And that's frustrating for me as someone who, I think a lot of us took pretty hard pushback if you were a first wave Trump supporter. There are people who wore the MAGA hat, went outside and were like, am I going to get punched in the back of the head? And we had to kind of go through that. And I feel like to a certain extent, if those are his more extreme supporters, for lack of a better term, it's kind of throwing them under the bus with this whole "I don't want your support" thing. That's all.
Fair enough, Troy.
If he doesn't want my support, then I don't support him. I support him as a man, but not as a president.
It's a strange comment, but you've been quite clear. I think I appreciate your call on that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. I always appreciate you. The show's been going awesome, and I know we're keeping it loosey-goosey, so I'm just yapping.
Super loosey, man, but I appreciate your call on this for sure. I mean, I definitely have like thoughts. I don't get. No, actually, I'm lying about that. All week we've been talking to callers about Epstein, but I appreciate them because there's stuff that I just don't. I put it like this: when I have somebody to bounce off, we can kind of clear up what we're all thinking here. So I appreciate it.
And there's nothing outside of the callers, and to the listeners. Having talked to you a lot, Nick, it's like there is nothing wrong. I said I'll say to the listeners and to you, right?
All right, then we got to move on.
With regards to your approach on this, there's nothing wrong with taking a steady approach like Nick does. I think it's a very commendable position, and that's why you and I can have good conversations. I think taking a steady, measured, and non-emotional approach is a very good practice, and a lot of people could engage in that a lot more. So,
thank you, sir.
With that, I'll let you go, man, and have a good show. And I'm gonna hop back in the chat. Hopefully, people don't roast me. But yeah,
Troy, man, call me again. No, man, everybody agrees with you. Everybody, pretty much. My chat is as unstable as you, sir. So don't worry, they won't roast you. No, Troy's a solid guy. One of the most solid guys I know. All right, take care, sir. Call me again. 888-775-3773. Well, I don't know, Troy. You're quite solid, but over Epstein, no. Don't roast him too hard, fellas. Let's see here. 888-775-3773. We got coffees and all that. I want to get to all my calls. It's lovely to have all of you there. Just look. Who cares about what did I have here? Yeah, we can move on from this because we got more callers, supporters here. Hold on, let me just pull it all up. Thank you so much. Members on Rumble. That's amazing. I appreciate that. I appreciate Jermaine. That's a nice amount of coffees, man. I appreciate the generosity on buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. Says, my fellow Canadian, sup, knit. Shout out, Jermaine. Shout out to Canada. Let me know where in Canada. We got Canada in the chat, in fact. Shout out. That's great. Okay, let's see here. Let me pull up these super chats. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Lillian Chin. Always very generous, man. So thank you for that. And did I miss this one? No, I don't think I did. But Harmony with the super chat. Knit and Bond are based, not a tumbleweed. Confirmed. Could it be I was tumbling about, but Bond was that fence? I heard someone describe it like that, right? Tumbling around, but Bond maybe it was the fence that caught him finally. Tumbling here and there. What news event will make you tumble next? It makes me think about what people support and what they think is good. And this is not me saying we cannot have a sovereign government. Let's do it. Let's freaking get her done. I'm there with you. But when you have your mind constantly on retribution, violence, even if it's against the evil ones, right? You're a good one. You're a good person, and your mind is constantly on taking down the evildoers. They're evil, right? That means they're taken down, right? Your mind is constantly on protecting the children from the pedophiles. So we got to think about the pedophiles and what they're doing to them and how they're controlling the world. Or you're thinking, or your mind is constantly on the suffering of a Christian. And it's like, or the suffering of a Catholic, maybe? Christian suffering. And it's like, life is suffering. And like, and I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. Or your mind is constantly on the evil of the world. That makes you an evil person. Have you noticed? Do you realize this? Well, at the very least, I'll say this. I think it doesn't make you a good person. I'll say that, right? I don't think that makes you a good person. I don't even know what makes you a good person, actually. But I really don't think that makes you a good person. So I think you can probably stretch that to all sorts of places. Doctors with a mission to save people. It's like, anyways, where was I? At the very least, you'll understand that, right? Your mind is constantly on retribution, violence, exposing, right? It's like pedophiles, and that means your mind is constantly on evil. You're not a good person, I'll say. We have calls though, 888-775-3773. I want to get to Rudy, California. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How you doing?
All is well. Appreciate your call.
Thank you, man. So, this whole Epstein thing and this whole thing about Trump not making his promises is not only an overreaction, it's a clear lie. Because, I mean, the last caller said Trump did not campaign on shutting down the border, and he literally did. The border's been shut down. 0 people let into the country for like 2-3 months straight. Trump's only been in for about how many? 6 months? And I knew the MAGA base, something was wrong with them when they began complaining about the Palestine-Israel situation. Oh, we're going to World War III. And in 12 days, I had the wait-and-see attitude. And in 12 days, it was all over. And, instead of biting the bullet, say, we were wrong, they doubled down, say, oh, well, it still might happen, and nothing's going on, right? Now we got this whole Epstein thing, which Trump never campaigned on. Trump never once said, I'm going to give you guys the Epstein files. That's what I'm campaigning on. You watch all his rallies. I watched a lot of them. And all of a sudden, these people found something to hold on to get some kind of identity, because most of these people don't give a crap about Epstein. What are they going to do? They're going to get the Epstein files and go chase people down? There's nothing that they just want to fulfill their tabloid fantasy that something murky and quirky was going on, right? So my question is kind of like, what is it that they're looking for really? What are they really trying to get out of this? Because I don't see how them getting the quote-unquote Epstein files. Now they're saying there's a client list. A lot of these things are speculation, right? The files were released, redacted, but a lot of things were redacted because there's people's names. There's laws where you cannot expose people who are quote-unquote victims, to re-expose them to the public, right? And there's other people's names who are in there who you can't put it because it'll put them in danger because they weren't necessarily charged. I mean, the DOJ went after the people who were involved. So why would they not go after everybody? Okay, let's just say it's some high-class politicians, right? The files were the Epstein case happened under, I think initially under Trump, or it happened under the Biden administration.
Right.
These people are speculating that Trump might be in it. Using common sense, and this is how I know emotional people lack common sense to the nth degree. Why would they tried everything to nail Trump from his first administration, and even before he got in this second time, they were trying to nail him. If his name was in there in some guilty capacity, would they not have put it out that Trump was in there and got what they wanted, which is to take down Trump? They changed the law in New York to try to take him down. Right?
That's right.
Why would they not, if he was in the Epstein files as a guilty participant, that would be a no-brainer for them to get rid of him the way that they've been trying to. So the whole MAGA base that's on and on about this Epstein list, is Trump in it? They're clearly lost their mind. And it shows that these people were, that's why Trump said, if you are on about it, I don't want you as my supporter, because you don't even have the common sense to realize these things. And he has bigger things to worry about. His first administration, he was constantly fought against because he didn't have control of the House and Senate. So it was a headache trying to get things done. So the last call talking about, oh, this wasn't done, this wasn't done. Trump is one man fighting a complete system. He comes in the second time. We have the House and the Senate. You still have Republicans who are trying to fight against him. Okay? If you want Trump to be a king or a dictator, gather up your arms and go to the White House and let them know, hey, we're your militia. We're ready to go. And you're not taking it there. So all the whining and complaining about, oh, the Epstein list, that you don't really care about it. There are great things happening. The economy's gotten amazing. Inflation's gone down. Jobs being produced. He's making a lot of changes to kind of clear up red tape to kind of get the country back. But he's done all of this in 6 months.
Yeah.
And they're crying about this Epstein list. Even if he wanted to release them, let's just say there's something we don't understand. He can't say. And he has to try to do it. But having your base get all this fervor and crying about it, and you've only been in for 6 months, could be frustrated. I'm not saying Trump is frustrated, but he's like, forget this. I don't got to deal with this. You know, if this is the crux of why you want me to be your president, then you could kick rocks. And I'm all about that. Everybody, I don't care if it's 99% of the base. They can all go, because it's ridiculous to me that these people are crying. You got people who have podcasts. You got people in government. You got all these people virtue signaling about a client list, not realizing that actually shutting down the border, Trump did more about protecting children than releasing this list will do. Because a lot of trafficking happened through the border. You know what I mean? So
yeah, essentially, I agree with a lot of that. Sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
No, I agree with a lot of that. Not everybody, like even my last caller even said, he was trying to describe that, it's not about seeing dirty things there and all that. It's about some deeper thing about politics and sovereignty. But I'll say there's so much ignorance there. There's not enough for me to have this response to Trump. In my opinion, I'm quite happy with a lot of things you said. Now that being said, I even take it outside of all that, man, because I'm not even in this. My mind is not even in this space that you're talking about of arguing that if Trump was on it, then Biden would have done it. If he said it this way, well, he might have meant it that way. I notice, and nothing wrong with what you said, but I just noticed that my mind is not even there at all, because that's what like MAGA is arguing, and they're like they're just arguing these little details, and I notice I don't even care about it. My mind is so not on there. Because let me explain. Let me describe some of what I'm thinking about. For example, you're saying, oh well, if he was there, Biden would have released it. I'm not even thinking like that. Put it like this. If he was on it, I heard that he was. I heard that it's maybe just plain records. I don't even care, buddy. If tomorrow it's the worst of the worst, I think differently. Look, I'm not arguing these political points and even what MAGA's saying. Like, my mind is elsewhere. If some nasty things came out, I'd ask my viewers here, what do we care about? What's the past? What's today? Are we Christians? Does repentance, is it a true thing that we care about? I don't think about someone's past like that. And I didn't vote for someone's past like that. So should something come out, I'm honestly of the thinking, which may even rub most people wrong, MAGA, everybody, that I don't care about all that. Is he doing a good job or not?
I'm with you on that. That's kind of the point I'm saying. I'm saying like all of these things. I was just kind of like showing the fact that even if they were truly even thinking about it in a sensible way, they would come to those conclusions. But to be quite frank, like you said, I don't care. It doesn't affect my life not one bit.
Here's another aspect. Sorry, please finish. My apologies.
No, I was gonna say I appreciate what Trump's doing. My life is amazing. You know, I'm focused on me trying and overcoming, right? All of the darkness in me. So why would I even could be concerned about, like you said, something? Let's just say, like you said, the worst of the worst come out. Who cares? Because most people only are looking to point at somebody else, point their fingers at somebody else and not themselves, right? So I'm with you on that aspect. But it's just this conversation's been going on so long. I'm just like, the context of what I'm trying to say is look at yourself when you're running through all of these thoughts about Trump and blah blah blah, and it's like, do you really care? You know, if you couldn't eat for 3 days, you probably would really care about if you do something, right? This is not something people care about. Their lives are good, their bellies are full, they have a place to live, and now they have something to kind of like point their identity to and say, hey, I'm a good person because I care about this. And then, like Jesse said, this is how, like, when you have common sense, it's almost like you prophesy. Jesse always says, people will love you for everything, and then one thing will be the crux at which they turn their backs on you.
And the big thing about that is that they're just as evil, if not worse, if not usually way worse.
Exactly. It's just there's no magnifying glass on their life. So it's easy to say, oh, I chose him for this, or oh, this person's doing this. You don't care. Most things that happen in your life, you just care about it because it feels good to kind of be involved in what's happening right now. But the reality is that's not doing a thing for your life. The things that matter for your life, you're not taking care of internally and sometimes externally, because it flows over, right? Starts internal, then it becomes external. So
I just don't think like everybody else too. Like even the so-called victims. Everybody, from what I gather, and just in my opinion, that the vast majority of the people involved in all this wanted to be there, traveled there, and all that. And look, that's another one of those comments that people don't like, but that's why my mind's just not where most people are.
No, but what you're saying is true. Your mind's not where people are because you paying attention to yourself, and you get in the truth. You know, you get in the truth of the matter. It's like, the people who are there.
May I ask you something and then let you go?
Absolutely.
Devil's avocado, I guess. Little devil's avocado. Should there be a blackmail ring controlling our politicians? What should we do about it? I guess I don't know.
First thing I want to say is, what even makes us think that there's a blackmail ring controlling our politicians? What's the source where that information would even be coming from? Should there be one? More than likely not, because that's not normal, right? But is there one? Is that even something to even consider? Because a lot of people's sources are other people coming up with conspiracies, right? So if there's some de facto proof, let's prove it, and then something could be done about it. But if this is just coming out of, I heard such and such on X say this, or such and such on YouTube say this, then
I just realized in me asking you this, does all the criticism lie on just that conjecture?
It does. A lot of the Trump's criticism or the government criticism about this control thing, there's no de facto proof. This is one person who said, I think our politicians are being blackmailed, and everybody takes it and runs with it. But there's no document, there's no word of mouth, no videotape of somebody proving it. There's no proof for any of this stuff. So everybody's over here spinning their heads around for things that somebody else said. Gossip.
Well, Rudy, man, thanks for your call. Can you call me again?
Hey, for sure, Nick. Appreciate you, man.
Sure,
Take
man.
it easy.
Thank you, sir. 888-775-3773. Look, more people want to talk about it, and I'm willing. Let's talk about it. Whatever. But let's see what else here. Let's see. I mean, I guess I could save some of this, but look, what are y'all saying here? 888-775-3773. We'll run through some of these calls fast. But what else did I have for you here real fast? Man. Let's see here. No, we'll have to come back to some of that. But look, we got some people who've been holding for a bit. I want to get to all of you. Thank you so much. We got Edwin, first time caller out of California. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
All is well, Edwin. Appreciate your call. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to real quickly just try to bring some clarity. Not bring it, but if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't,
right.
oh well. Trump. We voted for Trump, right? And we said we want Trump. I voted for him 3 times, and because you trust him, and just to break it down simply is, let's put it all on the table, right? These files or whatever. If Trump says you don't need to see this, I'm good with that. I don't know about you, but I'm good with that. That's good enough for me, because whatever reason these people have in their minds, that doesn't mean that he's not for America. We don't know that. Not releasing the files is good for America. You know what I mean? That's why we voted for the guy, right? You put them in power to represent you, and you hope that they do. And if they don't, then you don't vote for them again. Plain and simple. And, but so far, I think he's doing a great job, But, just that's kind of what I just wanted to say. Just, it's don't turn your back on who you voted on because what you keep hearing everybody else talk about, Because it all boils down to nobody really cares, like the previous guy was saying. Nobody really cares. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. So, yeah, that was just my 2 cents. I've been hearing so much about it that now I'm getting in my thoughts. Now I care, and I don't. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, fair enough, Edwin. Appreciate your call, man. Thanks for your support. Thanks for calling in. First time caller too, man. Thank you so much. Call me again, Edwin. Or maybe he was going to say something. Apologies, Edwin, but appreciate it, man. First time caller, 888-775-3773. We got more calls, getting right to you. Y'all want to talk about this and that? Some more Epstein stuff, getting to you. Getting to you here. I was hoping Edwin was a little longer there. Give you some show content here, right? All these calls fell in my lap. I shouldn't complain when the content wasn't that prepared. How about we don't complain, huh? How about that? It's just Jasmine Crockett, man. If I could find her saying what she said, I know we saw it in the JLP show, but it had its importance on a topic we know, but folks, we're seeing it like, you wonder what will a minority white America look like? Like we're getting some of the nastiest politicians during White History Month, no less. So how about we take another call and maybe I can find that clip and we can get into it. But for now, let's say hello to Canada. We got Zenny. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
What's up, Nick?
How you been, sir?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How are you?
No complaints, man.
Nice. So I also want to touch on the list. And I'm a little bit surprised that people are just so willing to kind of glaze over this because it is a huge deal. It's not that it was a huge deal. It is a huge deal. Like the idea that politicians, celebrities, not just that, but people in basically people of influential people are, going to Epstein Island, raping kids, and being videotaped and having that blackmail being used against them to do things that probably aren't good for America. So any way you slice it, if you care about child rape, which you should care about, people are saying, oh, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. All right, man. Have fun explaining that to Jesus at the end of your life, buddy, because that's just a statement that is just deplorable. You don't care about child.
Why should I care about child rape? And do you think? Okay.
I think it's a pretty big deal.
Why should I care about child grape?
Because it's wrong, and it shouldn't. It's probably one of the most wrong things that.
But why should I care about it?
Because you caring about it can have effect on it happening or not.
In what way?
Because your voice matters.
In what way?
And your actions matter. Everyone's actions and voice matters and has effect on the rest of the world. If you're saying you don't care.
Yeah, I don't. Tell me why. Tell me why I should. You're telling me because actions matter. Tell me, do all these words and actions, are they mattering now?
Yeah.
And how are they mattering?
Why do you have a show?
How is the world's actions? How is the world's actions and words mattering to, for example, child grape?
Well,
how is that helping child grape in the world?
I got a good example. And it actually is something that is, a positive about Trump. People saw what was going on with the immigration, saw it was out of control. Saw like examples of little girls being raped by immigrants, and were like, "F this! I'm voting for Trump."
Right.
And Trump got elected, and now he's seemingly deporting these child rapists at higher rates than Biden did, instead of importing them. So that's an example.
Unprecedented
of people's
since the 60s.
Voices and actions having an effect on the world around them.
Right. So when you said
by
you can't
saying
understand,
you don't care, you're having an effect.
I would love to answer that. No, we're gonna get to that. I would love to answer that. But when you said something very interesting, you started the call by saying that you just don't understand how people cannot be caring about this. Well, you just brought up an interesting thing, right? You just said, "Wow, you imagined there probably are a whole bunch of people who voted for Trump because they saw something positive about what he could do about the border and children." So, in that same respect, you can then then you can understand people deciding to trust Trump, because there's a whole bunch of people, like you said, that see Trump fixing the border, continuously doing it even now, and saying, "Well, you know what? I'm still quite happy." And even some of those maybe even want the Epstein this or that, but just to answer that, you're saying I just don't understand. Well, I think you can understand. I think you've described it quite well. I think you can understand how someone can, however they see turning away, whether it's I just don't believe it,
turning
or
a blind eye. Yeah.
Whether it's
turning a blind eye. That's what it is.
No, that's not fair, Zenny, because for a whole bunch of people, it's I'm not quite sure. For a whole bunch of people, it's turning. Maybe it's like fine, we're turning a blind eye to this for the better good for now, whatever. So whatever that may be.
Come on.
Hold on, Zenny.
It hurts to hear you say that.
Hold on, let's slow down, because you're saying, "Oh, come on," because
celebrities.
No, Zenny, you're saying that because you don't understand.
You can't turn a blind eye to this, and one thing is okay.
So you can understand. We'll leave it at that, right? So you can understand.
I can understand. The only thing I can understand
I'm glad we could get that.
You don't understand what
I'm glad we could deal with that.
Actually means and how it affects the politicians and basically a lot of decisions that could be made in your country, from CEOs to celebrities, musicians.
We'll get to that. I just wanted to get that straight. I'm glad that you could understand. Now, you told me, you said that I should care about child grape. Sorry, could you say more why I should care about child grape? Why I should care about it?
I said
I guess
already.
You kind of already said,
I gave my example of how people caring about a certain issue led to that issue seemingly being, taken care of. But
that's not necessarily
about immigration. People could say, like your caller said before,
did their caring do that, or their voting? Did their caring do that? I don't think it was their caring.
They cared enough to go and vote.
Let me ask you this: does God care about child grape?
I think He does. Yeah.
And what makes you say that?
Because in His Word, He tells us not to sacrifice our kids to Molech.
So if God cares about child grape, why doesn't He do anything about it?
Well, He does do things about it. He puts us in positions where we could do things about it.
What makes you say that?
Well, that's true. We can do things about it. As I proved before when I said that
what makes you say that?
People
what makes you say that
things
God puts Zenny in the position to speak about child grape? So you're telling me God put Zenny in the position to deal with child grape?
I guess so. He put me in a position to speak about it right now. If you're saying that it's not
I want to understand that. How do you know God put Zenny in this position?
It's a moral failing on your part to say that you don't care about it.
But how did God put Zenny in this position?
I was born. I lived.
So you don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I was born. I lived, and I'm here. All I know is that I'm here presently speaking to you about it.
But how did God put you in that position?
I felt an unction in my spirit to even
so it was a
wait
feeling.
on hold to talk to you guys.
It was an unction.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really know is what you're telling me.
An unction of the spirit.
It was a feeling, an unction. Hey, we all got those.
I never said it was a feeling. I said it was an unction of the spirit.
Everybody got an unction.
And your
everybody
unction tells
in their
you
mama
not to
got
care
an
about
unction.
child grace, eh?
Everybody in their mama got an unction.
Sounds like an unction from somewhere else.
So you don't really know if God cares
God.
about child grape then. You're telling me you don't really know because you don't really know if he does anything about it.
Does God care about children?
I'm asking you if
Does God care about people?
I'm asking you if
Does
God cares about child grape and you don't really know.
You, Nick?
Because it seems like he doesn't do anything about it.
God love you, Nick? I'll tell you, Nick. God loves you, brother. He loves you.
Are you just playing around now, Zenny?
But God loves you.
Are you just trolling now? Did you get mad? We could
have this
conversation.
Like you're acting like you're saying God doesn't care about.
No, I'm asking you simple questions. I'm wondering how you know that God cares about child grape, and it doesn't sound like you really know.
I know God cares about people. I know God cares about people.
And you talk around it, and you give other things, and why you think you know, and why you think he cares about. Well, tell me that. How do you know he cares about people? Actually, that's a great question. How do you know he cares about people? Because it seems like he does just as little about people that he does about child grape.
Well, he sent his son to die for us, so we can have eternal life.
And then what happens to the people? What happens to the people that reject his son?
They go to a place where they get to reject him forever because they chose it.
And does God do anything about that?
Well, he leaves the door open, but you have the free will to choose it or not.
So does God do anything about those people who reject Christ?
Does he do anything?
Yes, that's the question.
Well, I say he did something. I don't know if he continues to do something constantly.
So he gave us his son. Should you reject him? Does he do anything about that?
Should you reject him? I don't know. I can't say for certain if he does or not because I know that his grace is far beyond what I can imagine. So
doesn't that
I don't
make
know.
you think?
But he saves people that we don't even think can be saved, like child rapists.
But not in the care. But not with the care that you have. If you've learned, if you've gathered anything from this discourse in this short discourse, I hope you've gathered maybe the question. It leaves you with a question. Maybe my care isn't the same as God's care, or does he care at all? Because my care tells me to go around caring for child grape and caring for people. And yet here is this God who has all this love I read about, and he doesn't lift a finger for those people. Maybe I'm wrong in what I think God thinks and feels. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, you can't say that he doesn't do things. I mean, I'm sure God.
Well, you've yet to tell me a single thing God does for child grape, the child that are graped, and even people. In fact.
Well, I mean, like, if a child can survive that and continue to thrive and survive, then that's God's grace. So yeah, he does do something.
Nice. Well, right on, Zenny. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. But, can we just go back to the actual substance of the list for a second? Because it's just like, bro, if the politicians are being controlled, then is that not an important thing? I mean, we're talking about the deep state. You can talk about immigration. You can talk about all this stuff. But if they're being controlled, then they can just make it look like they're doing things that are helping America. But really, they could not be doing it, right? Like this immigration thing. They're not deporting enough immigrants.
Yeah,
they're making it look like they are, but they're not.
No, actually, I understand that a little bit in the sense that I think that's the fear anybody would have. But we have to be careful with fear, and we have to wait and see. I think you have to be. In fact, I don't even think you have to be careful with fear. I think you have to reject it maybe because I understand that. I've had the same thought. Like, wow, well, put it like this. It's like I had the thought like, oh, it feels like Reagan. I wasn't even around for Reagan, right? But it's like, oh, it's like a trick for amnesty and blah, blah, blah. But we can't go with fear. That fear isn't truth. Fear means nothing. Fear to me. You can have that thought and try and have your questions, and I'm not telling you not to have them. But look, we can't go with fear. Can't you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I don't think it's not a reacting out of fear. It just seems like an about face that seems totally weird and illogical to a lot of us. Where it's just like, wait a minute, we were talking about this list like it exists. And you said you're going to drop it, and you're giving out these binders with phase 1 of the Epstein files.
All that requires some qualification.
Phase 2 at?
Who said what?
Phase 2.
Well, all that requires some qualification, and I don't think it's unfair to ask for that because you said he promised this when he didn't. You said the binders and all that true. Cash Patel, Pam Bondi talking way too much. I don't trust them. Talking way too much. Well, Pam Bondi less so. I mean, you could construe some of her words a certain way. You know, she didn't quite say a list was on her list, but hey, she played into it. Maybe you could say that. I don't trust these people. Cash Patel, well before he was even in the government, was going around all these podcasts saying, we got to release the Epstein list. And he put it like that. We got to release the list. We got to go after these people. And then he's in the government. And what does he say? He says, actually, it was all conspiracy. None of it's true. And so, again.
Yeah, so that just seems totally weird.
I mean, again, and this is what I'm getting at. It can seem weird, but your reaction to this seeming weird is fear. And I leave you with one question, sir. As Christians, should we go with fear?
No, but I don't think it's fear. It's illogical. It doesn't make sense. So it's just like it leaves you with questions like, what is that? That doesn't make sense. So you have to, as someone who's, logical, it's just like, well, I'm not going to just sweep that under the rug and say that it's okay. It just doesn't work for me. I don't know. I just can't do that. But I'm up here in Canada, so it doesn't matter what I think, right? But I don't know. It seems like it affects more than just the United States, for sure, because there's people that, I'm sure it's just not Americans that are on that list.
I understand, sir. Sir. Anything else you want to talk about here?
Topics of the day. Ooh, I saw recently that Australia.
Well, I mean, like on this topic, but you know what? Say what you.
On
just
this topic?
on this, just so we can, because of time. I have other callers here.
I thought you wanted to talk about this.
Not like open mic.
All good
session. But what's happening in Australia? Actually, real quick.
Oh yeah, I just saw that. Like now, it's official that there are Australia has more immigrants and children of immigrants than they do the native population, and the same thing is just about to happen in Canada, in which there are more immigrants and children of immigrants than there are actual Canadians or Australians in those countries.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
It's so over.
It's don't say all that. Don't say all that.
No, I'm joking, but it's only just begun.
I mean, think about it like this. I mean, look at all these people talking about it. It seems like it's definitely not over, and I wouldn't call it waking up. Wow, look at all these people waking up to truth. I don't really think like that either, but I think it's definitely not over for that reason. I mean, should there be a force, and I think it might be some force or whatever that does not want white people or whatever. Whatever plans they had, I think they were foiled because look at all these people talking about it. I don't know what to say. I don't know how else to put it.
No, they're just setting it up for. They're setting it up for the Civil War, for the Western Civil War. It's starting in Spain right now. You can see it happening in Spain, where these Northern African immigrants are starting to rove around this town with knives and it happened in the UK too.
That's
a little
terrible.
bit, right? Remember that when they start rolling around with knives?
That's the problem with
anchor
babies.
Looking for natives, and then it's going to start killing and beating them up, and it's going to start a civil war.
That's the problem with the concept of an anchor baby. What a mess.
What a mess. All right,
Zenny, man, call me again.
Nice talking to you.
Nice to hear from you. 888-775-3773. Amazing. You know, it's like you got birth rates, for example. They talk about these birth rates. You know, put it like this. You know what? That's not too important. Look, forget that. Like, the point is that they're saying the Somali birth rate is crazy. And they make a whole bunch of them. They make babies big time. 6.2 births per woman. That dwarfs the births of the native populations, okay? The white population, let's be a little bit more accurate. And so you get a bunch of Somalis in an area, they will, I mean, at this rate, outbreed. And the problem with that is that, I mean, I put it like this. You talk about, it's going to change. It's going to change. America's going to become different. You're going to have politicians that are going to have, terrible laws against white people, and it's going to be brazen, and it's going to be that way. Look, folks, who the heck is this guy? Omar Fateh? Who's during White History Month, no less. And I'll tell you right now, however he finagled this, thanks to demographic change in Somalian voters, that's all they see. They see a Somalian guy fighting for them, and that's all they see. And he's saying we got to end whiteness, I think. He's saying
we heard them being
white people, I think, is like the domestic enemy or something.
Heard them being called terrorists. We heard them being called drug dealers. We heard a lot of insults. We heard that they're a threat to our national security. And that's a flat-out lie. You want to know who the real threat is, Madam President? I'll give you a hint. They don't look like our chief author. They don't look like the folks up in the gallery. They don't look like the folks out in the rotunda. They look like many of the members that sit in the front. And you don't have to take my word for it. According to DHS, Madam President, the greatest domestic threat facing the United States comes from, quote, racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocate for the superiority of the white race.
It's so funny, like, not funny, but it's just these anti-racist activists who basically got in the government, right? Remember Merrick Garland and all these people under Biden? They went out and they've been doing it well before Biden. Let's be real. These people went out with the intellectual underpinnings of their perfect America, where the true domestic terrorist is anyone telling us we can't have a multicultural society like these white terrorists. And all those words were ammo for people like this guy to then do colonialism on those Garlands, Merrick Garlands, and whatever of America. That's all it was. It just became ammo for them to just be like, look at what the DHS said. So yeah, white people, you got to go. So that's already in the government, okay? That's already in the American government.
Not our immigrants.
You got, what was it? It was that Jasmine Crockett piece. Hell of a lady, Jasmine Crockett, right? Talking about Texas being a majority minority state. And I forget what, let me see if I can even find it. It was fascinating because it was just like a little factoid that happened in the last few years. And she sits on it like it's like a precedent of America, the precedent of how we run things here. Hey, excuse me, Trump, don't you know Texas is a majority minority state? Which meaning minorities are the majority in the state, so you're not the minority. It's really evil warping of language for specific agenda, which is anti-white. Why is your mic so low? Test. What's going on here? Test. Mic check. And so that's what's happening in the American government. I just wanted to say that quickly. And I saw Jasmine Crockett saying something about using Sesame Street as basically propaganda overseas over there in Iran or something like that. And I don't know if you saw Elmo's account on X go off, the other day. They said they were hacked, but they went off on they call it an anti-Semitic tirade. No such thing as anti-Semitism. But they called it an anti-Semitic tirade, and Elmo was saying some choice things on X. Like, it was violent at times. And he was not happy with the Jews. Elmo was going off. Okay? Elmo waffing. Okay? And, hey, I don't know. I was trying to kind of finagle that into some kind of joke there. Like, Jasmine Crockett. It's like, oh, that's why Elmo went off or something like that. I don't know. I thought it was maybe kind of funny. So it was going to be a segue into some of Elmo's choice words here, but we got so many calls. How about we just do more of these calls? Elmo, they shut him down. Oh, man. But we got calls. Look, I want to get to my first-time caller here out of Germany. That's amazing. Got a heard around the world. Call it that. Rich, Germany, on the air. Appreciate your call.
The American Anchor Baby. Hey. Thank you for taking my call. Happy White History Month.
Hey, happy White History Month. Rich, thank you for that.
Yeah, so I think the term is Schadenfreude, which is a German term meaning getting pleasure out of the downfall of somebody else. And for what it's worth, when Trump was already elected the first time, a lot of folks were saying lock her up about Hillary. And a lot of that, I think, really carried over once this supposed list. And I think a lot of that for about the Clintons was in the back of their mind. Oh, we're going to finally get the Clintons now. And then that kind of dissipated. And so now look, I can understand how people are upset about the victims in this thing, but yet nobody is raising a protest sign in support of the children being just horrendously treated in the Congo. It's like, wow, if it's teased, they're going to go after it. It's schadenfreude. So they just want to see the downfall of those in elitist position. My French bulldog's yapping at me. But that's what I was just wanting to say about that.
Well, thank you, Rich. Yeah. How do you, so Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. So it's,
I like that.
Schadenfreude. Yeah.
I think I said that to Derek the other day. But yeah. So taking pleasure in the what? Like
basically what it is, it's the downfall or demise of somebody else, whether they hear about it firsthand or secondhand. And like I said, this is just political schadenfreude. We want to see, a lot of people just want to see that. And really what it is once it's uncovered, then what? We can have great streets, we can have no litter anywhere, crime-free zone, and somebody, and maybe even a group of people, will eventually come down to, what are we going to do about those jaywalkers, those crossing the street without proper lighting?
Another thing that gets me is, you mentioned it, and I forgot to deal with that. I think this is now the second caller talking about the abuse of children, the abuse and graping of kids. You heard my last caller say they're graping kids, but hold up, that's actually, isn't that an unfair assessment here? What's the word I'm looking for? Isn't that just an inaccurate assessment? It wasn't kids being graped. It was underage. It was minors. It was underage prostitutes, and some of them alleged grape. And but that's also another thing too.
It depends.
For a lot, they do. Many of those who even allege grape say they were there of their own volition for a large part of that time, even those that allege grape. So it's just a little bit different than people say. It's just different than people say. It's uncomfortable, but it is.
It is. And when you look at the media, you look at, depending on the race of the individual, perpetrator, whatnot, if they're 18 and 19, they'll say youth, they'll say kid, and they'll say young adult. And it's like, well, what are they trying to get out there? Are they really trying to condition the minds of folks? And like I said, if I'm thinking about this, I'm not living. Because this really has nothing to do with me at the end of the day. I have no emotional stock in it.
Fair enough, man. Not everybody's saying that, right? Whatever. Look, I get you. You're right. It's not bothering you personally. It's a fair statement.
Well, they just want to see the downfall of those in power, and I think that's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. And the difference is we're on camera 24/7, so it seems like it's more than it was millennia ago. But the same human behavior is still continuing. We just have more cameras on us, and we have different color hats. That's the only difference. Anyway, that's my take.
I hear you, Rich. Appreciate your call, man.
Thanks, Nick.
Yes, sir. 888-775-3773. Mr. Pink, San Francisco, on the air.
What's up, brother?
Thank you, sir. All is well. Mr. Pink, thank you for your call.
Awesome. Happy White History Month.
Happy White History Month, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a couple devil's avocados on this whole thing.
All right.
Okay. And because at this point, this has been exhaustively talked about.
Yeah.
It's just never ending.
I guess you're right. It's been a bit of a topic.
I'm taking the default on this one of just trust Trump, and dude knows what he's doing. I do feel like he knows what he's doing. And there's multiple facets to that. because most of my devil's avocados are going to come from a place of, I don't know, because none of us have seen the files. Everybody is speculating on all this stuff like they know what's in the files already, and they don't even know what's in the files. All right? Everybody, it's all assumptions. It's all assumptions. They were doing this and that to the kids. And I was like, do you know that that's exactly what was going on there? No, you don't know that for sure. So you can't judge people based on their reaction or unreaction to the files not being released if you don't even know what's in it to begin with. All right?
A lot of people are mistaken about what the Epstein list even means. It's actually a number of things, not like a list, a Rolodex of people's names and then their crime they did.
Okay, yes. So with that being mentioned, okay, I was thinking about this earlier. There was a bunch of people that went to this island. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein, that guy was like, he was into a lot of other things than just PDF stuff. I'm sure he was an investor that was into like genetic testing. He was trying to do stuff with, from what I read, he was doing stuff with Bill Gates as far as like, genome research, whole bunch of different things. So I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, how do we know that everybody on the list was doing PDF stuff at the island? Do you think that maybe stuff that was happening on the islands, there was something other than just that going on too? Does that mean everybody that was on the flight logs and everybody that went to the island was automatically, they were all doing PDF stuff?
No, you're touching on a core misunderstanding here with the vast public of the so-called client list. A client list. There's no evidence of any client list, but for others, it's more of like, yeah. Beyond that, it's just there's a number of things in the FBI's possession. Well, they've put it public, but redacted, and then there's like flight logs. I had a list of what's on the so-called Epstein list here. I mean, what's basically the Epstein files are the CDs, Epstein's computers, batches of these plane passengers, and all these redacted files for the FBI. That's the list, and then it's like, well, what can we learn from that? But there is no client list, so. You're getting at a key misunderstanding here. It's really about, like, who is his business dealings with, and for what reason, and for what true reason. I mean, that's what people are trying to have a higher mind about. Yeah, in my opinion, I think most don't.
We don't know.
Most.
We don't know who was doing what on the island or with him in his business dealings. And there may have been some that were doing
because I'm not
PDF stuff.
Go ahead.
But does that mean they were all doing that? And then, so I'm looking at this from Trump's perspective, because he probably has seen the file, right? And and maybe because he was associated with dude at a point, and then he stopped being associated with dude, from what I've heard, when he found out that this other stuff was going on. But people are looking at this one-dimensional. Like big time, so maybe there is a client list. Does that mean that everybody on the client list was doing PDF stuff? Not necessarily.
Right. That would be like how the public takes it. The dumb public would take it like that. If you put out this list, but for everybody, but other people are trying to, right? If you had this stuff, I guess you would be trying to connect. Well, then what is actually happening? And there may be something happening there. I'm not here getting into that at all, because I don't deny that I don't deny that at all. I don't deny that at all.
And it's like so Trump looking at it, it's like, so if he puts out this file and it's this list of names, that's just going to create a whole other firestorm of speculation. And there's no evidence of people there's no videos of people doing stuff or anything. It's just going to be a list of names. And then that's going to cause people to speculate about what the people on the list of names were doing, whether it would have been bad or not. They don't know what the person was doing that was on the list.
Yeah, that's why I say that's actually in my opinion, that's actually a good reason not to, because how so many would not understand. Now, I don't know if there's no video. I could be wrong, but
I don't know. I could
be wrong, but basically, I think the claim is that there's all these cameras in his properties, and they were, I believe it is that the employees and people with Epstein allege that those were just simply for security purposes, and then the allegations from some of the Jane Does and some of these women in the civil lawsuits, they allege that no, those cameras were used for this blackmail. And so that's basically where the story is. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I think that's where the story is. And so the journalists are like, well, let's figure that out. What's the answer to that question?
Yeah, could be. And so I have a couple more devil avocados, okay? So let's think about this. Number one, if there is this huge blackmail operation going on, that means that CIA, FBI, all these politicians are involved, etc., right? And it's this like huge, seedy, like under the cut thing that was going on. If this is real, right? Do you not think that releasing all of that information to a public that doesn't fully understand or know how to react to stuff, that would like undermine the entire government, and then like it would cause such unrest in the country when Trump's trying to get stuff done and he's trying to get the economy back on track, the border controlled, all this stuff. That would create this massive firestorm of unrest, insanity. People wouldn't know who to trust, what to trust, any of that. So Trump's probably thinking from a zoomed out. He's like, okay, I'm looking at this like that. That would cause such crazy speculation and distrust of everything going on, right?
Yeah, from a state power perspective, state power, maintaining stability. From that perspective, but that's assuming that such a bombshell exists.
Yeah, and I think about this too. It's like, okay, so we're not the president. We're not the president. We don't know what we would do if we had information to this file and we were, talking to people involved in the CIA and FBI. We don't know what we would actually end up doing if we were presented with this information and what drastic consequences it could have if it did get released. We don't know what we would do in this position. So I'm choosing to trust Trump on this. And then here's another speculatory, maybe, I don't know, but this could be happening. Trump is going out there and he's giving these kind of like wishy-washy answers and then saying all of these different kind of positions on it. If there is something and he does actually, in his head, if he wants it to get out, well, he's doing a pretty good job of getting eyes on the subject right now. Right? So if it does eventually come out, everybody's going to be paying attention.
You're saying he set the stage for it?
That could be it too.
You're speculating that basically a scenario where Trump maybe even wanted to do something, but something else, some other force stopped him. And so, but the way he has handled this has brought a lot of attention to it, anyways, setting up the stage for a reveal down the road where he couldn't. I mean, it's a lot of speculation there, but it's kind of fascinating, I guess. I don't know if I'd go that far.
You think about this, because now you got the Democrats going out there going, "Oh, release the file, and it's like there's probably a lot of your folks in there too. It's like, so it's like it's got people like not even knowing how to go about it, because the Democrats are going to go out there and it's like, oh, this might damage Trump. But it's like there's going to be a lot of Democrats on there. There's going to be a lot of Republicans on there too. I mean, we got to assume that as well. I mean, there's so many things. It's so multifaceted that I wouldn't say people should jump to conclusions on anything until it's completely settled. Because, I mean, even the other day he was like, well, we're going to do a special counsel about it. But then he probably sees the poll numbers tripping and his MAGA base tripping, and that's why I understand him going, if this is the most important thing to you, with all of the other good things I'm trying to do, if you're going to pull your support from me because of this issue, sole issue, then go ahead. I mean, I was agreeing, like when I was listening to Caller like 3 calls ago, it's like, well, kick rocks then, right? Because if you can't like trust me to handle this, while I'm trying to handle all this other stuff, then you never really supported me to begin with.
I can agree with some of that. I mean, there's also a lot of forces in the GOP and stuff that seem to just. We're talking about a high stakes political world with all sorts of agendas. I just don't trust anybody, and I'm talking about it. I'm talking about everybody but Trump. When they go around chastising or telling you what to think or what to question, I mean, I just don't listen to that. I don't care.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. And once again, this is another thing that it does not affect our everyday life, just like flat Earth. This is not something we really should spend all of that much time speculating on. I'm trusting Trump to do the right thing. If he's getting eyes on it, he's getting eyes on it. If there's nothing there that's really important or would make people trip out to a point, but there's no reason to fret about this. If it needs to come out, it will come out. And I just choose to trust him on it. Like if he was implicated in it, then Biden would have released it. If the Democrats solely were into it, then he would have released it right away. But I feel like this is so multifaceted that it's like there's a way to do this properly, and it's not just going to be drop it and then let everybody speculate and make more assumptions with something we don't really know the complete details about. And so I don't know.
All right, thanks, Mr. Pink.
I'm looking at it. I don't know.
Appreciate it, man.
That's the position we should take. All right, take it easy, brother.
Yep. Robert, Kansas, we got just a few minutes, man. Thanks for holding so long, man. You're on the air.
Oh, Nick, a few minutes. Hey,
I know. I was trying to go sequential here, man.
I got a
the
question
patience.
for you, Nick. How many babies did Hake eat on the Jew island?
How many babies did Hake eat on the Jew island? I say 0.
Yeah, the answer is 35. He ate 35. How many did Trump eat?
You're lying.
No, Trump ate 36.
You're lying about Hake. I don't know him at all to eat babies at any Jewish island.
Hey, did you see?
Take it back.
Now,
apologize on his birthday.
Yeah, Hake's birthday. Hake is he's my big brother.
And he's not a baby eater on any Jew island.
So I don't. Okay, I'm not saying I look at porn or anything.
What are you talking, Robert? What are you doing?
No, I called in. My topic to Derek was pornography.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad.
Okay, so like I'm not saying I look at porn. Okay, I'm not admitting to this. But have you noticed that, like, one good thing, Trump eats babies and all, but it seems like he's taken out.
You're just saying lies. Be quick.
He's taken out the porn.
Your lies are wearing my patience thin.
But no, if Trump is taking out the porn, right? Like, so if he's making porn illegal, then I kind of, that's like that's very anti-Jew to stop the pornography.
He's banning porn? What are you talking about?
What?
You said Trump is dealing with porn?
Well, no, it would appear like if you did try to look at free porn online, like if you were to do this, not that I do it, but if you did, then you'll notice how, like, the porn, they're getting
I gotta go,
porn.
Robert. All right, folks. I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Man, Rick, I couldn't get to you, man. Sorry. You know what? I got a minute here. Rick, Hampton, Virginia. Sir, you're on the air.
What's going on there, brother Nick?
All is well, Rick. Thanks for your call.
Man, you know what? What do you think about, I'm going to change it with the Epstein list. Why are the Democrats so worried about that list? I think it'd be most of their people on there, if anything.
I don't know.
What you think about that, Nick?
I really just don't know.
Yeah,
I sincerely don't know.
Out.
The more I learn, the more I learn, the more the people who are so sure it would be Democrats on that list. The people who are so sure it would be Republicans on that list. The people who are so sure, I talked to them a bit, and it's like, okay, they're clearly not trustworthy people. And so I sincerely don't know. I had this impression that a whole bunch of politicians are on some American politicians, both left and right, are on some dirty Epstein list. But upon learning more and more facts, I sincerely don't know.
What is going on that Epstein list? You know, I mean, what was going on that? Is it an island or something?
Yes. An island in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
And to my understanding, what they had, like, underage girls that nude and stuff.
You said what?
That's it. My understanding what was going on that island was what's that, girls on the island nude.
Prostitution.
Wow. Dang.
Rick, I gotta go. Anything you want to say about this? We don't have much time.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna say, man, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, not that I care, but it's gonna be, man. You know, people gonna, I guess people. Well, the village want to make sure they want to make sure as long as Trump on there, they don't care who on, as long as he on there. That's all they care about.
Right.
What you think?
I think some of that might be correct. I think some of that might be true.
All they want is, as long as Trump on there, they can have anything to make them look bad.
I bet you a lot of that would be true, Rick. Man, I appreciate your call, sir. Sorry to keep it short.
Thanks for taking my call, Brother Nick, man. Love you guys, man. Keep up the good work.
Back at you, Rick. Call me again. All right, folks. That's pretty much the show. That's it from me, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. We did the calls, the super chats, all the supporters, amazing, lovely super chatters and supporters. Thanks for all the coffees and everything, folks. I won't be live tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. Like and subscribe. That way you'll be up to date should I go live. Hit the notification bell. But tomorrow we'll be filming and working on some White History Month content. So I appreciate all the support today. I'll be back Sunday. Well, we'll be back Sunday with Jesse for Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. But for now, just stay subscribed and notified by the channel. You never know what's coming next. Take care, folks. Happy White History Month. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And I'll be on the JLP show tomorrow, as we do, of course. Black Friday during White History Month. All right, folks, for real now. I must go. Take care. Bye now. Oh, Lil Nick, too, he's got to say bye-bye.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.